Thank you. In the middle. Yeah. Okay. So I'm moving. Okay, the time is now 10:06. We're going to call this meeting to order. This meeting is currently scheduled to be on site at Fairfax Junior High Cafeteria. The meeting is also available to be witnessed via teleconferencing. Notice of teleconferencing pursuant to Executive Order N 2920 and Government Section 54953. The board will conduct this meeting via teleconference or video conference with one or more board members participating from a remote location via telephone or other electronic means. Voting at this meeting shall be by roll call. Members of the public wishing to observe, listen to the meeting, or make public comment as authorized under Government Section Code 5494.3 may do so at the following location: 1500 South Fairfax Road, Bakersfield, California, 93307. Voting at this meeting shall be by roll call. Social distancing measures will be implemented to address public health issues related to the coronavirus COVID-19. Link to the meeting is on Zoom, 967-47-144-289. If a member of the public desires translation for the public meeting and would like to make a public comment in another language, please contact the district office 24 hours in advance and arrangements can be made. District office number 661-366-7221. Public comment. Members of the public are welcome to address the board during public comment sections of the agenda. If you wish to make a public comment, please email lbrown@fairfaxsd.us to add your request. Please state your name and the agenda item you wish to address. You'll be recognized on the virtual platform when it's your turn to speak. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes for each agenda item. If multiple people are wanting to address the same topic, if you wish to make a public comment in person, You may make such comment at the district administrative office located at 1500 South Fairfax Road, Bakersfield, California, 93307. If you're in need of translation services for the board meeting or would like to make a public comment, any assistance in translating your statement, please contact the district office at 366-7221. The other part is repetitive. We will go into B, and I will ask you to join us in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I'm going to ask for approval of tonight's agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? If not, can I get approval of today's agenda? First, Alma. Second, Jose. Okay, all in favor, Alma Rios?
Aye.
Virginia Lawson?
No.
Palmer Mullen, yes. Victoria Cornell?
No.
Jose Tapia?
Aye.
That's 3-2. The approval agenda will pass. Okay, welcome of guests. Welcome to the meeting of Fairfax Elementary School District Board of Trustees. This meeting is held in compliance with the state of California and County of Kern Sunshine laws. We have a place on the agenda to hear from members of the public who attend our meetings. If it is good if you can call the superintendent before the meeting and have a place on the agenda for any issue you wish to talk about. However, if you haven't done that, you may fill out a form provided for you and give it to the board before the meeting begins. Each item on the agenda can be discussed by members of the public. 20 minutes are provided for each agenda item. Several people can speak during these 20 minutes. We do hope that you in attendance will refrain from visiting during the meeting, as this can be disconcerting to the board members. Thank you for being here. Public comment procedure. A person wishing to be heard by the board shall first be recognized by the president and then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Individual speakers shall be allowed no more than 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board president shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of the board meeting. Persistent disruption by an individual shall be grounds for the president to terminate the privilege of addressing the board. The board may remove disruptive individuals. Individuals who disrupt the board meeting may be guilty of violating California Penal Code 403, a misdemeanor. With that, we will move into public comment. Our first public comment.
Yes, first we have Nancy Cox.
Nancy Cox is recognized as the board president.
Good morning, board. It's nice to see you, I guess, on a Saturday morning. Good morning, community. I have the same question I had has it only been a couple weeks ago? That why do we have to redo something that's not broken? Our legal counsel has been our legal counsel for a very long time. They know Kern County. They know schools. I don't know who you're even looking at, but I really doubt that they know Kern County and that they know schools. If you find some legal team from LA, from Orange County, I don't know where these 3F people are from. They do not know Kern County, and they do not know the things that we deal with here. We have a very different place. You can tell by our community that we don't deal with the same things that an LA County or Orange County district would deal with. So why we would change to a place that does not specialize in Kern County, I don't understand. So that's my thought on this. I don't want to go on any further. I'm sure there's people who have more thoughts on it than I do, but that's what I think. If you have a specialist that specializes in something, I don't go to a cardiologist for stomach pain. Come on, let's think. Let's use our brains, people. Oh, I say that all the time. Fifth grade teacher, sorry. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Marisa Wood.
Marita Wood is recognized as the board president.
Okay.
Good morning, Mrs. Brown. Can you hear me? I'm too short for this, I think. Okay.
You can-
Honorable board members, Coronel and Lawson, and Fairfax community members.
Miss Wood, when you bend it down to the.
Bend it down.
There you
Okay,
go.
now I'm gonna have to hold this because I can't coordinate and I can't see, so we'll go with this. Okay. My comments this morning are not directed at amoral board members, Moland, Tapia, and Rios, as they have continually proven themselves to be without conscience and refusing to listen to the overwhelming calls for sanity. I am speaking to the migrant families who have been, I'm sorry, I'm sort of angry, so I'm a little. Okay. I am speaking to the migrant families who have been repeatedly lied to by these three corrupt board members, their employees who have called you at home in an attempt to persuade you that they are acting judiciously. They are not. Mr. Tapia especially lied to you when he said he was running for the board because he wanted to bring more funding to the migrant program. He lied. He has proven this lie every time he has voted in consortium with Moland and Rios to advance their personal revenge and use district legal services for their own personal gain. There are approximately 300 students in the Fairfax migrant program. These three treasonous board members have voted to approve exorbitant legal fees for F3 for their own personal use that totaled $12,000, which I mentioned last board meeting. The Fairfax School District is contracted to and legally bound to pay schools' legal services up until December of 2022. This is an astounding, if you put that together with the $12,000, this comes to an astounding total of $60,000. This means that Moland, Tapia, and Rios have stolen from your migrant children $200 per student. The amount stolen from your children will exponentially increase as they search and utilize additional legal firms who will bill our district fees of upwards of $200 an hour. They are lying to you as they steal from your children. This is not okay. They will not listen to the teachers as we stand and fight for your students. They tried to hold this meeting today on a Saturday, but look at all the teachers here who are fighting for your students. Sorry, I get super angry. We see you, and we will not stop fighting for the students whom you seem to care nothing about. Shame on all of you. And then Anna Perez is going to translate mine. So can she
Okay.
come up
Yes.
and do that?
Translation, they get, in the past, we give them the full time for translation. I don't want them to. No, it's not requesting. Then you can.
Okay, we didn't have the request on file, so we're gonna go to the next public comment. Cause no, no one requested to be, no one requested to her. We're going by the rules. It's, yes, we are, okay? It was not, I just read it. It was not given to her. It was not given to her. No one requested to her that we need a translator. Okay, so we're going by the rules. We're gonna move on to the next public comment. Please, who's the next?
Okay, it's okay, it will be attached to the agenda.
It will be attached to the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're not going to
No one requested her for translation, so I'm just going by the rules. Do you have that? So I can read that. It wasn't presented to us prior to this. What I have is the. Can you find it? So I can read it and then, yeah, let's make sure. Okay, we're gonna take a short 3-minute recess. Okay, we're gonna go to the next public comment, and we're gonna allow him to look for it while the next person speaks for the sake of time. Okay. Okay, notwithstanding, this is from Grant Henderson from our legal firm, notwithstanding paragraph 1, when the legislative body of a local agency limits time for public comment, the legislative body of a local agency shall provide at least twice the allotted time to a member of the public who utilizes a translator to ensure that non-English speakers receive the same opportunity to directly address the legislative body of a local agency. This is let's just trying to figure out where it's coming from. I can state where we got this from. Okay, this is powers and duties, part 1, powers and duties common to cities, counties, and other agencies. 53,549,999.7. Part 1 added by stats 1949, chapter 81, chapter 9 meetings 54950-54963, chapter 9 added by stats 1953, CH 1588. So this is in compliance with the Brown Act.
Mhm.
So we will use this legal advice and allow for the translation.
Thank you. And again, this is Mrs. Wood's speech. Buenos días, señora Brown, honorables miembros de la Junta Conorel y Lawson y miembros de la comunidad de Fairfax. Mis comentarios de esta mañana no están dirigidos a los amorables miembros de la Junta, Moland, Tapia y Ríos, ya que continuamente han demostrado que no tienen conciencia y se niegan a escuchar los gritos llamados a la cordura. Me dirijo a las familias migrantes, a las que estos 3 corruptos miembros de la Junta le han mentido repetidamente. Los empleados que han llamado a su casa para intentar conversar, que están actuando con honestidad, no lo están haciendo. El señor Tapia les mintió especialmente cuando dijo que su intención para estar en la mesa directiva era porque quería traer más fondos al programa migrante. Él mintió. Ha demostrado hasta mentir cada vez que ha votado en concorcio con Mullen y Ríos para promover su venganza personal y su uso de los servicios legales del distrito para su propio beneficio personal. Hay aproximadamente 300 estudiantes en el programa migrante del distrito escolar de Fairfax. Estos 3 miembros traidores de la Junta han votado para aprobar los costos enormes legales de F3 para su propio uso personal de $12,000. El distrito escolar de Fairfax está contratado y legalmente obligado a pagar los gastos legales de la escuela hasta diciembre del 2022. Este es un hambroso total de $60,000. Esto significa que Moland, Tapia y Ríos les han robado a sus hijos migrantes $200 por estudiante. La cantidad robada a sus hijos aumentará drásticamente a medida que busquen y utilicen firmas legales adicionales que facturan a nuestro distrito tarifas a más de $200 por hora. Les están mintiendo mientras les roban a sus hijos y a nuestros estudiantes. Esto no está bien. No escucharán a los maestros mientras nosotros defendemos a sus estudiantes. Deben hablar. Qué vergüenza los tres.
Cora Padilla.
Cora Padilla is recognized as the board president.
Good morning. Good morning to our true board members, the members who choose to support our school rather than tear it down piece by piece. I am here today to finally put my voice out there. I will be commenting on the meeting agendas items D1 and D2. D1, evaluation of attorney firm school legal services. Why is it that we are evaluating schools legal when they have done nothing but good towards our district for the years that they have been with us? Are you having a tantrum because they called you out in many of your lies, that they did not let you spread the lies concerning them? Tell me valid reasons why you are evaluating the school legal when their services aren't scheduled to be evaluated and renewed until 2022. D2, motion to terminate school legal services. Let us be real here. There should not be a motion this soon to have legal services terminated without just cause. What are the reasons for this motion? Why are you so rushed to have our legal services taken away? Board members, I am asking you today that you push this motion to be postponed and put into discussion until further evidence is provided to give a just vote. Board members, if you have a mind of your own and are not being controlled and told what to say, please do the right thing. I just want to say I have stood by watching as you made ridiculous decisions regarding our school. You are a liar, a cheater, and a thief. You lied when you said you would have a town hall meeting. You lied when you said school legal advised you to have a special meeting. You lied when you said you were going to do great things for our school. You cheated to get where you are today. You cheat the system by making up your own rules regarding board policies. You cheat great people out of their jobs because they defy you want to do. You are a thief because you are stealing school funds for personal gain. You're a thief because you are stealing funds from children's education. You are a thief because you are stealing jobs and future opportunities from the community. Instead, you have failed us on so many levels. All three of you board members have failed us. You two board members should be ashamed of yourselves for allowing this to continue. You are jeopardizing the futures of our students. Can you look in the mirror and not feel disgusted for stealing from children? You, probably because the beginning of your tyranny and dictatorship, if you understand what that means, you have thought of only yourselves. You should be disgusted and disappointed because we all are. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is myself, Palmer Moat.
Oh, let me announce it.
Oh,
Yeah, so the next public comment is Mr. Mullins.
okay, so as a parent, as a member of the community, as we talk about the amount of fees that we have spent on attorneys, it is astounding. And this is not why we're here today, but we have spent a very huge amount already this year. There is not a set amount of fees that we are being charged. F3 invoice $11,902. Schools legal services as of 3/29/2021, $61,889.50. Liberty, Cassidy, and Whitmore, $80,000 and $88.80 as of 3/5/21. These are all legal fees for 1 year, and this is not the total amount. I do not know who approved these huge legal fees. I don't know who, I don't know, I don't know if the community has looked at the invoices, but I encourage you to look at them. I encourage you to look at the records. Again, that is not why we're here today. That is not why that is not why we set this agenda today, but the invoices are there for you to check. That is all, and that's it that I have for public comment.
Okay.
We cannot, we cannot have the disruption. We're going to proceed like adults and let each person comment and continue on with the meeting.
Lauren Saavedra.
Lauren Savage is recognized by the board president.
And I brought a timer as well, just in case. Good morning. I wanted to speak today on the continuing concerns I have over the horrible decisions that this board continues to make. First of all, this Saturday meeting is a blatant example of how self-serving board members Moland and Rios continue to be. You both continuously lied, made excuses, and you've blown off the community that voted for you when they begged you for a town hall meeting for months. The town hall meeting that would give both of you the opportunity to explain your reasoning behind the decisions that you make. If you're really here for the community and the students in this district, then that meeting would just prove your point. But your desire to avoid that meeting at all costs shows that the people in this room, the people on Zoom, and the community are correct in saying that you're here for your own agenda. So here we are today in an emergency meeting to request to fire the district's law firm, and for what? Because they had the unfortunate assignment of investigating the complaints against you. And when they determined after a fair and impartial investigation that you had in fact acted inappropriately, you began the process of working to retaliate against them, just like you did with Mr. Coleman. You and Rios continued to abuse the power that you have as board members to exact revenge on individuals that you feel have wronged you, using the public's money to do so at the expense of the children that you're supposed to be serving. Mr. Tapia, and I don't have this translated, but I would love to. Mr. Tapia, you are our only hope, sir. And I beg you to take a hard look at what's happening here. I have no doubt that Mr. Moland and Ms. Rios have been in contact with you before today's meeting, which of course is in violation of the Brown Act, and in an effort to ensure their agenda today to be pushed through. When you voted against going out for a proposal for yet another law firm, you did so because I know you felt in your heart that that was wrong, and you were completely correct. We cheered for you at that brave decision, and I please pray that you can be just as brave today, because what's happening here is wrong, and it's only at the benefit of Mr. Moland and Ms. Rios. So please, sir, do not vote to fire the district's longstanding law firm who has represented the district with sound judgments and ethics for years. And for goodness sake, don't vote to spend one more dime of the public's money for this atrocity. You have the power to change the course of this board and restore it to the honorable state that it once held before these two individuals soiled our reputation. So I pray you make the right choice today. Thank you.
Catherine Paraso.
Catherine Paraso is recognized by the board president.
All good?
Yes.
I'm here to address agenda item D in its entirety. It's interesting because when you work as a teacher and your focus is totally on your students all day long, politics come and politics go, and you don't always catch it. And so when politics actually enter your classroom and interrupt what you're doing, that's not a good thing. That's never a good thing. The kids are supposed to be the focus, the education's, but if I wrote up a student for the nonsense going on here, it's disrupting the educational process. Now, I was not happy with schools legal. A couple years ago, they fired a friend of mine for what I felt was very minimal, if not nothing. There was no legal charges filed. I was mad. I was really, really vengefully like mad. And I didn't act against it because I'm a grown-up. Now, they fired my friend. They said good cause. They said protecting the district. I said, you just playing flat out crazy. And then I grew up. My friend, who had done this minimal thing, had risked this district and our money to our children. Not that that was ever going to happen again. It was just a minor one moment, 20-year career down the tubes. They protected this district. They protected the district's money. They said, if it's that big of it, if it's no big of a deal, go get a job elsewhere. She did. Then she continued. Unfortunately, she made the same mistake. Okay, so if it was no big deal the first time, you learned from it, right? Right. She didn't. I love her dearly. She didn't. She got fired again. Now nobody will touch her. School's legal. I wasn't happy with them. They fired my friend. But you know what ended up happening? They protected this district. And they continue to do so with their decisions. I'm not happy with them. That's not my job. My job is to teach. If we all did our real jobs, none of us be in trouble. On the board there, sorry, teacherism, on the wall there, they're kind of out of order, but I've got evidence, what I tell my students, relevant, credible evidence from the Bible, and for those who don't like the Bible, from Aristotle and Plato, well recognized as having great wisdom. From the Bible, the fruits of the Spirit include love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. That's called the fruit of the Spirit. From Aristotle, we have the definition of greedy. You're greedy when you do not heed from where money will come, when you don't ask what's going to be reduced to serve my own needs, what harm will come to others, and how will others suffer.
3 minutes, your time has expired.
All right, Plato's on the wall for all to read.
Thank you.
May I have more time?
Is there a motion?
Yes.
The first motion.
Because I don't want to be
second motion,
accused of religious,
A roll call vote, Alma Rios,
Aye.
Virginia Lawson,
Aye.
Palmer, Palmer Mullen, aye. Victoria Cornell,
Aye.
Jose Tapia, aye.
Thank you. I'm trying to balance this, religion and secularism. So with Plato, he says, ask yourself if you're self-serving. Is the process you're trying to promote, is it harmful? Is it harmful to me? That would be the people making that decision. Has all this nonsense taken time away from you and your families? On a Saturday, oh my gosh, we have a full house. We have a full house because this emergency meeting, in quotes again, is historical. There's never been an emergency meeting on Saturday. That's crazy. I wanted to sleep. This is my first Saturday off. Thank you. Since January, I wanted to sleep in. All right. So then you have, so is it taking time from your family? Palmer, you have a child, right? Has all this nonsense, the last 5 months of your life, has it taken away time from your child? And is it attacking your reputation? Has it been causing greater stress to you? This is Plato. Is this an act of true? Is this act, the last 5-6 months, has it been a true representation of your character? You were accused of all these things and you said it was a false accusation. But all of your actions since November have supported all of the accusations in the paper. And I didn't like what that paper had to say. I looked into it. I asked questions. I've asked you several times, Palmer, please help me understand this. Please help me understand this vendetta. What have they done? I'll get on your side. You offer me the reasoning behind all this nonsense, and I'm right there on your side. I was right there for you for the longest time, but you won't answer. You just keep saying, well, all this nebulous stuff. The town hall meeting that everybody keeps asking for. Please step forward and explain. We're begging you. Short of that, please make the right decision today. Let us all go home, please, without kissing off more money. And by the way, all that extra money in the district, you get a retainer if you don't need them, okay? If you need them, you get charged a little bit more. But even so, all those costs have been since January, in your own words. All those costs have been piling up over this same issue. This same issue. Palmer, if you had taken that censure way back, there's no way a reasonable board would have then voted you president. And if a reasonable board hadn't voted you president, we wouldn't be spending 60,000, 80,000, another 11,000. We would be going about the business of the school board and the kids. Thank you.
Pam. Pam Padilla.
Pam Padilla is what, recognized by the board president.
Good morning. I've come to you this morning regarding items D1 through D4. Item D1, the evaluation of schools legal. First of all, the evaluation by no means needed to have a special board meeting to be done. The evaluation could have been put on next month's agenda as a discussion item for all board members, all board members. Again, I really don't understand the urgency of such a meeting. I find it sad that some of you couldn't take the time to evaluate Mr. Coleman, but yet you are making the unnecessary evaluation at this time. Item D2, the termination of legal counsel. At the last board meeting, you voted to look into hiring a new legal counsel, which failed in a 3-2 vote. I am guessing that one of the board members didn't get your memo on how to vote, so you're trying it again. According to the contract between Fairfax and Schools Legal, you must have a valid reason for terminating them. It says in the contract that they can be terminated for failure to honor its obligations or abide by the provisions of the agreement, which they have not. They have not violated any agreement to my standards or to any of our community standards or employee standards. It's evident here. I would like to know what the reason is. Is it because you, Mr. Mullen, were called out in a lie, or was it because you feel they are responsible for your investigation, that of which found you guilty on multiple charges? They were an outside source. They did not do this. Somebody else did this, not them. And I don't know why the blame is being put on them. Fairfax has had nothing but fantastic service over the years they have represented our district. Again, I would like to know what they have done to be terminated. Schools Legal does not just represent the board, they represent the district, and we are all just fine with their service. The motion to retain temporary legal counsel, D3, and the motion to conduct search for pursuant to new law firm, D4. We already have 2 legal firms representing our district at an unsurpassed amount of school funds. Now you would like to spend more funds on another firm when Schools Legal's contract does not end until 2022. I would like to know how much more funds you are going to waste trying to find a firm that fits your narrative. I find this totally uncalled for, especially since so much of our district funds have been taken away from the students. The law firm OMLO is based out of Los Angeles. Why an out-of-town firm when there are so many here in town that can be utilized? And why even terminate Schools Legal when they've done such an amazing job at such a minimal cost? Is it because you are hoping they will not be aware of all the problems you are causing in our district, in our community? Mr. Mullen, have any of you even considered the cost of this firm?
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I only need a
Okay.
couple of more seconds to finish it.
So then you'll have a motion.
Finish.
A motion.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Victoria,
Second.
second Virginia, Alma. Virginia.
Aye.
Aye. Go ahead.
Okay. Have any of you considered the cost of this firm? Gas mileage to and from Bakersfield, hourly rates, retainer fees, lodging if they have to stay in town, paperwork, and the list goes on and on. With the F3 firm and this firm, if hired, these students of the district will get a minimal education at best. All I'm asking is if you voted no last time, please keep firm to your vote and do it again. Fairfax does not need any other law firms that will break the bank. Thank you.
Grant Herndon,
Grant Herndon is recognized as the school board president.
Good afternoon, board members and Mrs. Brown. Just a brief point of order. It was mentioned that if members of the public want to look at invoices, they could do so. I just want to give a little correction there. Those kinds of billing records are actually protected by law. Not that we have anything to hide in them. We're actually proud of the work that we've done for you, but they contain attorney-client privileged types of information that the district would want to protect. So I would suggest, though, if a member of the public wants to see the invoices, what they would do is file a Public Records Act request with Mrs. Brown and we can analyze it. But the court cases on this topic typically say those don't get produced. So just so you know that. All right. If I can start my time now, really appreciate the opportunity to address the board regarding the services that we provide to the district. My attorney colleagues, Abby Alfont and Kelly Lazarson are with me. Just to start with, we are very proud of our long-term affiliation with Fairfax School District. It dates back to 1980 and possibly before that. So over those many decades, we've built strong relationships. We've stood in the trenches with successive school boards and administrators to support them in addressing literally hundreds of legal issues. We don't take that relationship for granted, and we're very proud of that. And it's because of that relationship that we felt it was important that we come to your meeting this morning to provide you some information about our firm that maybe the newer board members aren't aware of, but also to raise some questions about the process and this morning's agenda. We're very happy to have our services evaluated, but we only learned of this late Thursday morning. And we weren't invited to participate or submit anything in particular to the board. We were also concerned about the structure of the agenda because if you look at it, you have an evaluation item immediately followed by a motion to terminate our services. So it gives the impression, given the hastiness of the evaluation and that agenda item, that the board maybe has made its mind up already. We hope that's not the case. That's the impression that one gets. We want to stress that this is a very important decision for the district. It comes at a time when you're in the middle of an internal transition. So we really urge you to take the time you need to examine what your needs are, what we can do for you, and what we have done for you. So we haven't had the time to compile detailed information for you this morning. But I did provide you with a packet with some specific descriptions of the services that we provide. We're happy to submit anything else that the board might direct us to in that regard. As you are probably seeing, education law has become a specialty area over the years, and Schools Legal Service is actually a consortium. It's like a partnership formed by our member school districts. And so we're set up to make sure that our school districts have access to quality legal counsel at affordable rates. We're not a private law firm. We don't generate excess profits to distribute among the attorneys. Our attorneys are public employees. We're administered by the Kern County Superintendent of Schools. We're based in Bakersfield. This is our home and our base. We also do work in other counties. We support our districts, including Fairfax, in all of the areas of service that are typically provided by education law firms. That includes labor and personnel, collective bargaining, special education, student matters, governance, business and construction, real estate, all of those things. We feel that our deep connections in the education community benefit the district on a number of levels, and we actually live in the education community. Our offices are in the City Center Education Complex in downtown Bakersfield. We currently have 11 talented attorneys on staff, come from a variety of backgrounds, private practice, public agency practice like the DA's office, and the corporate world, and they all have very diverse strengths. Our goal at the end of the day is to help our districts make good decisions, avoid liability whenever possible through training and proactive advice. Because at the end of the day, we want you to be able to preserve those education dollars, which are scarce, for educating your kids. So we provide trainings for school staff.
The 3 minutes.
Oh,
the 3 minutes.
Mr. Mullen, can I request a couple more minutes?
A motion. A motion by Victoria, second by Virginia. Roll call, Maria.
Aye.
Virginia, Victoria, Jose. Okay.
Thank
Palmer,
you.
aye. Five.
I appreciate that. So we provide training to school staff on a variety of topics, and we're present all throughout the year in county-wide meetings for superintendents, HR officials, special ed, tech officers, instructional learning, all of that. Our attorneys update superintendents and school officials at least monthly on emerging topics so that they're in the know on what's happening. But the great majority of our services are provided day to day in our attorneys' interaction with your administrators. And all of those areas that we've talked about, HR, business, and special education. For purposes of your evaluation, we felt that the administrator that might be able to give you the best perspective on us over the last year would be retired Superintendent Michael Coleman. So we asked him to provide some feedback and have included that in your packet. We also asked, because you are evaluating us over the past year, former board president Javier Moreno to provide some comments since he was your board president during the first half of the year. All right, thank you. I am going to yield the floor to Ms. Lazarson.
All right. Thank you. So
Thanks.
next public speaker is Kelly Lazarson.
Okay, Kelby Latherson is recognized by the board president.
Thank you. Good morning. As Mr. Herndon indicated, I've been asked actually to read the letter from Michael Coleman. So I'd like to read that for the record. Mr. Herndon, this letter is submitted in response to requests for a written personal review of services provided by Schools Legal Service, SLS, while in my role as the superintendent for Fairfax School District during the fiscal year 2020-2021. It is my understanding that the district is undertaking an evaluation of the school's legal services performance for the fiscal year 2020-2021. I retired from the school district on April 23, 2021, after 16 years of service in the roles of assistant superintendent, business services, and the superintendent. I served as a board member for the SLS JPA, Joint Powers Agency, for the prior 10 years until my retirement. The school district relies on the SLS for all areas of need during the normal course of district operations. Normal operations required legal counsel in the areas of excluding insured matters, special education, facilities, property purchase, sales, student services, federal state mandates, general law, personnel, labor relations, and board operations. Providing an evaluation rating for SLS over the many years of service while in my roles at the district, I would provide a satisfactory rating. In fact, the district reviewed Schools Legal Service about 4 years ago through an RFP process that included me and 2 board members. The outcome was to continue to retain SLS. Reviewing the services provided by SLS in all areas of school district operations overall in the interceding time until now, I would continue to provide a satisfactory rating. For the school year 2021, the district has needed SLS for not only the usual comprehensive matters mentioned above, but also for a significant number of hours concerning unique board issues. As I was not part of the latter board issues, I cannot provide an evaluation of those services. However, on the services provided in all other areas of need, I would provide a satisfactory evaluation of Schools Legal Service. I find the expertise in all areas of education law to be exemplary. The attorneys that provide the service in special education, facilities, personnel, labor, and federal state compliance are deeply knowledgeable. The district has never been successfully sued in any issue that has arisen. Of note, in this past year, Schools Legal Services has aided with the required reopening plans, safety plans, land purchase and sale, and personnel negotiations. I was given praise by the Kern County Public Health Department on our submitted reopening plans. Special education is a continued need for counsel, and SLS provides clear and competent counsel. The district successfully passed the MFP reviews for special education with the assistance of your council. To review, I would rate schools legal service performance while in my role as the superintendent for Fairfax School District as satisfactory. Again, this excludes specific work requested of SLS by the Fairfax Board directly, of which I was not a part. Finally, as I am no longer in my role at Fairfax School District, this is my opinion and review and may not align with specific areas of required review that is required by the Fairfax Board bylaw. I hope this letter provides the information you have requested. Sincerely, Michael Coleman, District Superintendent, retired. The second letter is to the Board of Trustees.
The 3 minutes have expired.
And may I have additional time?
Motion by Victoria, second by Virginia.
Yes.
Paul Mario, Virginia Lawson. Palmer Mullen, aye. Victoria Cornell, Jose Tapia. Okay, you may continue.
Thank you. To the Board of Trustees of the Fairfax School District, this again is a letter from Javier G. Moreno. I am offering my written remarks regarding the performance of Schools Legal Service, SLS, while I was a member of the Fairfax School District's Board of Trustees and Board President. SLS has offered comprehensive and reasonably priced legal services to the Fairfax School District for many years. They repeatedly displayed a thorough awareness of the law, which has assisted the district in mitigating potential risk. SLS has always been responsive to the district's needs by providing timely legal assistance, regardless of the size or complexity of the issue at hand. Each case was handled properly, thoroughly studied, and the counsel given was always sound. I cannot recall a time when SLS provided counsel that didn't result in the district's intended outcome. In looking back on the year 2020, Schools Legal Service performed exemplary. Fairfax was working on contingency preparations long before COVID had an impact on schools, prompting them to close. SLS keeps the district updated on the fluidity of the situation on a regular basis, monitor the state changes, and guided the district administration in the development of language that allowed the district to be flexible in the event of an emergency. It was because of the guidance provided was Fairfax administration able to implement overnight a comprehensive closure plan, which had limited impact on students and employees. For the reasons stated above, I strongly recommend the board to give Schools Legal Service a positive evaluation and continue with the service. With regards, Javier G. Moreno. And then I just have 2 brief comments, if I may. It's just my observation. I've been an employment law attorney for 25 plus years. I do appreciate Catherine's comments, and I appreciate, Catherine, your candor. I really do. It's not always easy to terminate, someone who has been working, but as Catherine indicated, and I wholeheartedly believe in that, is that as an attorney, our interests are to protect our clients. And that also includes protecting your clients' finances, protecting your clients' income. I've been in private practice for a very long time. I'm very, I don't pride myself because I don't want to boast, but one of the things as an attorney that I think is very, very important for an attorney to have is consideration of the client and to be sure that what you are doing is the best job for your client and the most economical approach. So to look at all approaches, I'm a certified mediator as well. And so if I can mediate a dispute and keep the relationship strong, I prefer to do that. Another comment I'd like to make is on, I believe it's Cora's Padilla. She talked about if you have a concern and if you believe that unlawful conduct or inappropriate conduct or conduct that violated a policy occurred, your job as an employer is to evaluate that. You stop first, you have a complaint, you evaluate that complaint. You investigate that complaint and you use a third party. Obviously, we can't investigate ourselves if there's a concern. So we recommend, a third party to take a look at it, someone who's experienced, who's trained, to take a look at the situation, give you factual findings. Then you can make an informed decision regarding those factual findings. It's done in court. It's done, from day to day. And so just that comment about stopping and evaluating, take a pause. I had a Title IX training yesterday. That slide flashed repeatedly. Stop, evaluate, and then inform yourself and then make a decision. I think that's the wisest thing to do. Thanks. That's just my own personal comment. That's not Grant's. That's not, in fact, I didn't tell Grant that I was going to say that, but I wanted to say that as a seasoned attorney. All right, thank you.
Abby Avant.
Abby Avant is recognized by the school board president.
My nose runs from the mask, so just a second. Good afternoon, or still good morning, board. We wanted to take the opportunity to address some items from the board bylaws with respect to the evaluation listed in D1 of the agenda. There are some specific items listed in the board bylaw 9124. Again, as Mr. Herndon mentioned, we had limited time with the posting of the agenda to be able to address these items, but wanted to touch on these items for your consideration. In terms of efficiency and adequacy of advice, SLS strives to make ourselves available promptly when issues arise and to help the school administrator develop a plan of action to weighing the pros, cons, costs, and benefits of possible options. We believe we have done an exemplary job with that for your district and have not received any feedback indicating a need for improvement in that area. Our goal is to return phone calls promptly and no later than the day they are received, and we have attorneys on staff in each practice group every day to field incoming questions. We're open to any feedback and suggestions for future improvement from you and your administrative staff who work with our attorneys. With respect to the second area of results obtained for the district, as we have mentioned, we seek to analyze the facts of any given situation with the administrator and provide advice and recommendations regarding the possible courses of action after review of risks, benefits, and costs. Our districts operate in a highly regulated environment, which calls for specialized support and advice. We believe our support for your district helps school officials avoid potential pitfalls that can lead to liability, helping to preserve district resources to help serve your students. This year, for example, I helped to guide the district throughout the year on the ever-changing requirements for the district to operate during the pandemic, providing critical support that helped the district do some unique things during the pandemic. Our business group attorneys have assisted the district with real property transactions. Our fees are reasonable and competitive, another area for review under the evaluation. The annual fee paid by our member district ensures the availability of representation in various subject areas, access to trainings, publications, and a network of member districts. The basic fee works out to be less than $13 per student. We operate on a nonprofit basis, so there are no profits to be divided among partners. And as Mr. Herndon mentioned, we are public employees. Fourth area, responsiveness to and interactions with the board, administration, and the community. Our attorneys most often interact with superintendents and school administrators in charge of various functions such as human resources, business, and special education. We believe we are very responsive to their needs, understand the history and dynamics in the district well, and go above and beyond to assist them in carrying out their duties. We sometimes interact directly with the Board of Trustees. This last year has presented some unique issues at the board level. We have endeavored to provide the best advice we could under unique and challenging circumstances. We would invite the board to provide us with feedback or suggestions for improvement to our services. As I mentioned, and just to speak personally, this past year, I have been the COVID expert in our office. I worked very directly with the district in that regard. And as mentioned in Mr. Coleman's letter, it was as a direct result of my direct interaction with the district that the reopening plans were so smoothly accepted by the Kern County Department of Public Health. And I strongly believe that were it not for our constant and interaction with this district, that result would not have been achieved. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment to the board.
And our last comment is Jamie Henderson.
Jamie Henderson is recognized by the school board president.
Good morning, members of the board and Superintendent Brown. Good to see you again. I'm Jamie Henderson, a management consultant for the Kern County Superintendent of Schools office. I actually am your management consultant as well. I have 11 school districts. Fairfax is one that I'm proud to work with. Dr. Mary Barlow, I'm here at her request. She asked me to attend in her place. I've met some of you board members before. Actually, Mr. Herndon and I did a school board training, I think about 3 years ago. And it was on a Saturday. And we spent a lot of time going over your board policies, which brings me to your board policies. A board policy book, I used to tell new superintendents, if you're having problems getting to sleep at night, just start reading a board policy book and you'll be out in a heartbeat. But within that board policy, it addresses a lot of areas. But the area that really pertains to you are the 9,000s. And that's the board bylaws. And it gives you clear direction on how you should conduct your business, what you can do, what you can't do, what your powers are as a board, because individually you don't have power. And we talked about those things in that workshop. And I would just remind the board that it's valuable to go through those 9,000s on a regular basis to take a look at them. I also would remind you that Dr. Barlow, as the county superintendent, is under Assembly Bill 1240, which gives her power to monitor school districts, to visit school districts, but specifically to monitor your fiscal going-ons. And I have to tell you that if you run into physical problems, such as you get negatively certified on your budget, you can be taken over by the state. And if you're taken over by the state, the board has absolutely no power, none whatsoever. They bring in a state administrator and that person runs the district. We never want that to happen. In fact, Dr. Barlow was so committed on that here about 3 years ago, one of our school districts in the outlying area of Kern County had a negative certification. They were about to be taken over by the school board. Instead, I was assigned there as the fiscal expert, and we came in and we had stay and rescind power, which meant there were certain things that I had to pull off of the board agenda because it was going to hurt them fiscally. They were $4 million in the hole. Today, they have over $1 million in surplus. And it was through the efforts of that district, but also the resources that we could marshal as a county office. And that's our priority. We want to assist districts. We don't want to run districts. You're a locally elected board. You've got great decision makers in your staff. We want you to be able to embrace that and use that because you know your kids better than anybody. So we just come alongside and say, can we offer you legal assistance? Can we offer you fiscal assistance? Do you need curriculum training? What do you need? Let us know, and we're more than happy to help you. I'm going to give 2 editorial comments. I've been in this business over 40 years, so I think I'm entitled to give an editorial comment. When I was superintendent at Rosedale for 12 years, I used schools legal, and I loved them. Grant Herndon was on my speed dial, okay? And they were invaluable. And as I think it was Kelly said, they returned phone calls immediately. They were an invaluable resource to me. Now, did I use another legal service? Yes, I did. I had to. We had gone in with 2 other districts. We had passed a Mello-Roos bond, which generated over $350 million. So we had to employ bond counsel out of LA. That was a very specialized thing, but we were required to do that. I'm going to tell you, we use Fulbright and Jaworski, great law firm. They cost a whole lot more than schools legal. But schools legal was invaluable on the day-to-day running of the school district. The last editorial comment I'm going to make is whether you agree with these speakers that have come up before, that's up to you. But make no mistake, they have the #1 attribute that I always wanted in my employees, passion for kids. They got it.
Thank you. The next would be D, business and finance. Number one, evaluation of the attorney firm, school legal services. Discussion, evaluation of attorney firm, school legal services, board bylaw 9124.
All right, okay, board members, to assist in this process, in front of you Abby talked about. These are the areas that are outlined in the board bylaw for evaluation. So you can use this to help guide this conversation. This is a discussion item, and you are going to evaluate them in these 4 areas. How do you want to see where everyone's at? How would you like to proceed? It's all here with the session. It's time to have the discussions. Do you want them to figure it out now? Do you want to talk about it first? Want to see where everybody's at? Sure. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each area. And then you want to ask each member how they would like to rank in that area, or do you want to just talk about it in general overall?
We can talk about it overall.
Okay, so all right, perfect. The first area of evaluation is efficiency and adequacy of advice.
Okay, so is there anyone that wants to?
In your forum, to help guide your thoughts, and there is a scale from 1 to 5. If you'd like to kind of gauge there, or you can just share how you would. So we're now looking at the area of efficiency and adequacy of advice. Anyone have any concerns in that area?
I'm sorry, what was that?
It says, anyone have concerns, any positives? This is the time for, this is the,
Are we gonna go each
you
one of us
can, yes.
verbally?
Let's do it verbally, yes.
Or you can just fill the form out. That's how I thought we were gonna do it. Each member would fill out.
I think
the form.
It's a
verbally-
discussion item. I think that, since it's brought to the board, I mean, the board members that have an issue with schools legal should speak up about it.
And then,
So that's what we're here for, right? It's a discussion item. So go ahead, if Mr. Tapia, Ms. Rios, Mr. Mullen, you guys have whatever it is. I mean, I'm sure they'll accept whatever advice and whatever, feedback we can give them, right? So go ahead. This is your time.
I can start. The efficiency and adequacy of advice. I know that I have gotten certain advice that has sometimes have changed. I'm gonna give an example. When board members, other than the board president, want to address or talk to the attorneys, it was originally told to me that they can get the approval of the board president or the superintendent to talk to the attorneys. And then when a member requested to talk to the attorneys, it was then told that it had to be a board decision and come before a board vote. So it's probably going to be hard for some of the members to evaluate, because many of them haven't had interactions with the board without.
Mr. Mullen, are you speaking for the board members?
I'm not
I believe
speaking-
they
I'm
should
not
speak for
speak-
themselves.
I'm not speaking for the board members. I'm just stating how it has been, how it has gone. As like, if you wanted to talk to Grant, you couldn't just call him on the phone and speak to him.
Are you saying that I can call schools legal and I
No,
want? if I
no, I'm
wanna
saying
speak to
you
them?
wouldn't be able to without the board approval.
Exactly,
so
the
the-
entire board,
and
right?
the-
So not
the-
just the board president, correct?
The board president and the superintendent can talk to council.
Exactly, but the board
If an individual board member, it would have to be across, it would have to be a board decision, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Thank you. So that's that's my comment to number one.
Okay, all right. Anyone else in that, in that area, in the evaluation area, number one? In my experience with schools legal and in the area of efficiency and adequacy of advice, I've worked with them probably for the last 7 years as role as a director of programs and assistant superintendent with student services and legal issues with some student programs and compliance and so forth. And I have found there in that area to be a 5, which would be exemplary. I have had, it's been very efficient, adequate, and have helped us do very successful FPMs and some litigious issues. So I would give it a positive.
Okay.
I vote 5.
How are we doing this? She's we're each individually doing this,
Well,
or how are you?
We have to give them an evaluation of positive or positive or negative. We need to give them an evaluation. So here's a rubric. So we can use this to fill out and kind of, we can take an average. That way everyone would have an equal say. And since the discussion item, this gives an opportunity for the board and myself to discuss, because the superintendent and the board evaluate the attorney.
Okay, and so also, I think in this adequacy of advice, we want to make sure that the board bylaws and the board policies each year are up to date, and
That would be a board responsibility.
yeah, but
not-
understanding, so that's when some of the board bylaws are board policies that were maybe out of date that we needed training on, as I mentioned, like board workshops
Okay,
on
but I think
Saturday.
for right
our
now, let's
board
keep it on the
evaluation.
evaluation of the firm. That would be more of an internal thing for us to.
President Moreland, could I speak to that?
Mobley, go ahead.
Oh, Mullen, I'm sorry. On your updating of your board policies, do you belong to Gamut?
Yeah.
Okay, Gamut is through the California School Boards Association. They will send you updates automatically.
So also, do they send, I haven't received any board bylaw updates from Gamut.
Gamut, they would go to the superintendent.
Okay, I haven't received any. So if they go to the superintendent, then the superintendent shares them with the board members?
She brings it to the board. And do you do a first and second?
Yes, we do. We do a first and second reading, and we monthly, we get those reports from CSBA that are the recommended board updates, and those are the ones that we bring to the board for first and second reading.
I'm talking about I'm referencing to the board bylaws.
They would fall under the same, to the same process. So we have not received updates from CSBA on those yet.
Those board bylaws are not created by the board as a whole.
Board bylaws would can be tailored to our board, but they are definitely, there's recommended board bylaws as well. Just like there's
Because I
recommended
know in the
policy.
past, it would, when I would meet with the superintendent, we would go over the board bylaws or board policies.
Mhm.
And according to our district, we would either amend, change, strike, or whatever
Correct.
language that
Yes.
would be suitable for our district.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so has everyone had an opportunity to indicate their evaluation in the area of number 1? Any other discussion or any other?
I have no further discussion on that. I've already done my evaluation.
Okay. Everyone want to move on to number 2?
We can move to, have we any? other-
They can't hear you.
I have no comment.
Okay,
What was your vote? Do I have this on my vote or do I? how's it?
it's just, we're just discussing if you have a discussion.
no.
No, okay, that's just no discussion about it. Virginia,
So I'm confused.
So
sorry.
right now, we're still looking at area one.
We're gonna do
Area
number
one.
one. Everybody says their score.
I don't think everyone wants to quite share their score out loud. So, but you
Okay.
can feel free to share your score if you'd
Mine's
like
a
to.
five.
okay, I made my decision, so, and I've stated my comment, so we can, Victoria says she's done hers
Okay,
already.
Yeah, so
She has hers.
I'll make a comment on
Okay.
efficiency and adequacy of advice. I can honestly say that schools legal, just working with them as a board, they've made information very clear to us. They have, when we have not understood, they have explained, they have taken the time to make sure that we understand in open and in closed session. They have repeated themselves multiple times. If, again, if something is not clear to us, they are very patient with us. So for that, I thank them. And I very much appreciate the advice that they've given the board. And that's really, it's really very appreciated, the patience that schools legal has taken to give us the proper, clear, and patient advice. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay, and then the area two of evaluation is results obtained for the district.
Wait a minute, wait, hold it. You did not vote on number one? You did. What was your vote?
Her score.
no, she.
She doesn't want to share her score. We'll collect them at the
Did you
end.
give a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
She
You
said
gave
no
nothing?
comment,
A 0?
no comment, she said.
Okay, then what did Mr.
No.
Tapia vote? I want to see how everybody votes on this. Tapia did what? What was his, did he vote for 1, 2, 3, or 5? 4 or 5? What was his answer?
The score. Okay. Okay.
De acuerdo a mi experiencia que he tenido en las reuniones, la señora Coronel piensa de esa manera. Yo pienso, en ocasiones pienso igual, pero no igual que ella. Tengo diferencias. Entonces, yo por eso mi voto no es bueno, no es malo tampoco. Pero es de acuerdo a lo que yo he experimentado en las reuniones y a lo que he vivido.
So that's why he gets where she's coming from, but he's experienced other things. So his vote is like Ms. Cornell's.
So which column is he in?
No.
He says he's not gonna comment on what he validated.
He said that he's not gonna comment, so we'll just go ahead with the next.
No.
We're gonna
He doesn't
Let's
have any,
finish number 1.
he doesn't have any discussion. He doesn't have anything to discuss.
Did he vote?
Yes, but he doesn't have any, he made his comment. His comment was that.
So she's not voting on you're not voting on number 1 or
score.
the whole?
Virginia,
Their
Virginia,
You're not going to vote on the whole thing?
Virginia, they're not wanting to share the number that their evaluation number
It's only
is what it
comments.
is.
That's only comments. No.
So we'll go ahead and go to the area two, results obtained for the district. I can lead off with this. We have talked earlier and we heard some discussion how we have not had, lawsuits have came out in our favor. We have not have been in any litigious matters have always been resolved. And so I think that really speaks to our results as far as even property sales, labor negotiations, all those areas have been positive results.
Okay. I wanna ask you too, I know you said that results obtained for the district included serving the student.
Sure, well,
And what else did you state? I just,
well, when we talk about results, I would interpret this area as results being, attorneys guide us daily on making sure that we're following laws and compliance and regulations. So as far as there can be student programs and student things that we call on, make sure special ed issues, IEPs, we use them for labor negotiations with our bargaining unit groups. All of those have been positive results. We have not been, we know there's lawsuits that happen all the time. We have not had the lawsuits have came out in our favor. They have not been successful. So I would consider those results.
Mr. Mullen, can I briefly address the board? Two
Yeah.
things. A lady came up and said she's not able to hear Mr. Tapia or her translator, if people could speak up in the back.
okay,
Second thing is, I don't know what your process is for the evaluation, but this is an open session meeting and the Brown Act talks about boards not taking action by secret ballot. So at some point, I think, you're going to need to make public what your positions are. It's not something that you can kind of take away and deal with later. So, thank you.
That's my receipt. So with that being said, is what that really is saying is that we all need to really share in an evaluation. We are sharing, we're giving feedback on performance. And so to give feedback on performance, that's why we have this evaluation form to help guide that conversation. The numbers on the form represent 1 would be far below average, 2 is below average, 3 is average, 4 is above average, and 5 is exemplary. You can put a score in each area of the evaluation form, and we will need to share those answers out so that we can have an evaluation of the firm as a whole.
Okay, I don't mind starting, and I can share what I have, so.
Great.
So Victoria Coronel. For number 1, efficiency and adequacy of evidence, I score them a 5.
yeah, right.
For number 2, results obtained for the district, I also score them a 5. Number 3, reasonableness of fees, definitely score them a 5. Responsiveness to the interaction with the board administration and community as well, a very well-deserved 5.
Thank you, Mrs. Cornell. Would anybody else like to go over their evaluation next? Mr. Tapia?
Mi evaluation is for the number 1, I voted 2. For the number 2, results obtained for this, I voted number 2. The number 3, reasonable fees, I voted number 3. For the number 4, I voted number 2.
Thank you.
You have the fee schedule?
No. But we know it's less than the other ones we've looked at. All right, do I have another member that would like to share their evaluation?
Mr. Mullen, can I make another comment?
Mhm.
So we're getting numbers, feedback is feedback. That's good, but without comments, there's really nothing we can take away and learn from. So we're really appreciating and asking each board member to tell us in what way we can improve our services to you. And that way we can go away and learn from, because obviously we can all do better on anything that we do. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, Virginia, would you like to, Virginia? You want to share
Am I
your,
up?
yep, you're up.
Okay, number 1, 5. Number 2, 5. Number 3, 5. Number 4, 5. Thank you.
Do you want to state why you, he was just asking if is there anything other that you want to talk about?
What he was addressing is if if it's a negative, what they could do better to improve in that area. So when we're evaluating, if it's a positive, that affirms, that reaffirms what they're already doing. If it's a negative score or it's a lower score, that's when they would like to provide some direction or some input of how they could improve.
Ms. Rios?
Me?
No, Ms. Rios.
Number 1, 1, number 2, 3, number 3, 2, number 4, 2.
Miss, can you provide some feedback on how they can improve in those areas?
I could talk to him myself, or?
No, you can just, that's what this is, that's what it's an open, it's a discussion item and open.
Yeah,
And open.
but I would like to talk to him if the board doesn't mind.
This is a public evaluation that you scheduled, so you're
Okay, that's my score is reflecting my opinion with him.
Okay, so.
Can I have something to say? ¿Cómo van a mejorar si no les están dando razón de que, por qué les están dando es la evaluación que le están dando? Si alguien me evalúa a mí, yo quiero saber por qué me están dando un 1. Yo quiero saber por qué me están dando, yo quiero saber para yo mejorar. Eso es lo que están pidiendo. Ustedes pidieron esta junta, so ustedes deberían de explicar por qué les están dando esa evaluación y no lo están haciendo. So what I just said was, if I just mentioned to them that, if, they're the ones that asked for this, to evaluate schools legal. So if you're evaluating somebody, you let them know why you're giving them the score that they're giving. So this is why we're here, to let them know why we are evaluating them, to let them know why we are giving them the score we are giving them. So that's what your job is. Your job is to do that, and you are not doing it.
He gave his reason, so he stated his. You didn't hear what he said? No. Do you mind repeating what you said? Do you want? Okay.
That's not reason.
The results.
Okay, let's go ahead and,
Okay.
Mr. Mullen, do you want to go ahead and give
Yes.
your evaluation?
Okay. Efficiency and adequacy of advice. I don't have a list, but I don't have a list, but the correspondence between me and you, the correspondence between me, you, and the superintendent, the advice. There has been a change of advice. Like I mentioned before, I've gotten different advice several times in regards to certain issues. So I think given consistent advice in regards to board meetings, in regards to hiring additional law firms and advice regarding board policy, board bylaws. I think we could do a better job, as I indicated, that we should do our board study sessions on Saturday so we can start to go over any board bylaws or board policies that anybody at this time is having trouble understanding. And closed session, things like that. So number one, I rated 2. Number 2, results obtained for the district. Serving the students was mentioned. And what else? What other area can we talk about? Serving the students. They talked about how they served the students with the COVID and
Right.
what else? What else can we talk about?
Special education, they do a lot of that. They do a lot of, student services.
Okay, so student services, you know, I think that I think that there's a lot of policies in regards to safety, transportation, bullying, and also suicide prevention, just other areas and laws. I think we can do better on
That's
providing
when-
providing the district, providing the district with like policies, laws, and stuff like that in regards to those areas.
That wouldn't be under the scope of their service.
So we talked about a special ed.
We're talking about legal matters such as when there's a contentious IEP meeting and we have to make sure that we're following a specific law or regulation, when we have student services issues, or when we have personnel issues that we call and get advice on and direction, when we have to, even for discipline of employees and so forth, when we work with the labor negotiators, when we're working with the unions, all of those types of results, then them offering us the sound advice to keep us from being sued by outside.
Okay, so
So this would, so when we're talking our specific, like our own, like bullying and suicide prevention, those would be our internal documents that we create. And now we might create something and then send it to them to make sure it's following the law. And then they would provide us that feedback, but those things would be initiated by us, not by schools legal.
okay, so when we send them something and they send us their advice.
Right, so so we might create a plan or a draft. I'll even use our COVID plan, for example. We create that, we work on it, we send it to them, and they would ensure that we're following and meeting all the letters of the law and provide us that feedback. And then we make those changes until it is approved. And so all of those things that are created, and then they give their seal of approval. What we're talking about results is that our COVID plan has allowed us to reopen our schools following all regulations set forth by the Department of Health, OSHA, and all those things. And so since that was approved and signed off by schools legal, we know that we're meeting the letter of the law. And that would be the kind of results that we're talking about here.
Okay, so
May I make a comment?
you may make a comment.
I'm wondering because, we deal with kids that hear different messages all the time. And I'm wondering if some of the conflicting information you're talking about comes from one of two sources. Either one, in COVID case, the mayor, the governor, and then the mayor, they all had their input, and the laws that were coming to us kept changing. And believe me, we're on the end of this particular whiplash, so we understand about how the laws keep changing under us. So maybe that might be one of the sources of conflicting interest, conflicting answers. The other thing might be if schools legal says that they can't talk to an individual board member, but the president and the superintendent together. If you called them for one piece of information, one of the things you may have misunderstood what they said, and that's one of the reasons why they probably talked to two in the same conference, so that what one didn't catch, the other one can, and then you can clarify it if you need to. So you may have either have gotten conflicting information if you were calling them solo, or if you and Coleman were there at the meeting together and you heard it differently, you can always call to clarify. So I don't see how they can give you legally conflicting information.
So results obtained for the district, I think when communicating with the board president, and when emails are sent, there's been a couple or a few where we've sent emails regarding certain situations. And the results obtained for the district were not satisfactory to me. So in that area, for the students, for me, for the community. So I'm letting you know, so we can move on with this. Okay, you're interrupting, you're interrupting me. I have the floor, I'm trying to explain, and you're interrupting me. So in that area, I'm going to say to the reasonability of fees. I don't have a fee comparison. You guys have been the law firms. I asked for a fee comparison so I can see what other people have charged compared to what your fees are. And so I don't know how I can vote on that if I see fees that are, actually I can vote on it. The reasonability of fees, the fees that were charged by other legal firms and your legal firms, I can say I'm gonna go with a 3 verse based on my knowledge. Responsiveness to and interaction with the board administration and community. I can say that you guys have been responsive. I know that there's times where you guys are busy or you guys are out and you have someone else call. But sometimes we don't, like recently I received a call from somebody that I had never interacted with and I didn't know the person. And they kind of stated that they were calling on behalf of your office and they were calling on behalf of another attorney. And this was in regards to a specific interaction, a specific situation with the board administration. I know that administration has contacted you guys with concerns, and I think we're still kind of in limbo on the email that we recently sent. We're still waiting for advice on that email that was sent.
Two things easy to address. I appreciate that feedback. Someone called you and didn't identify themselves, and that's easy to put the word out in our office to make sure that happens. If there's something pending that I'm not aware of, just send me an email today, so I know which one you're concerned about.
Oh,
Is there a concern?
so there's a concern. That's why we're here today.
I'm sorry, I'm looking for his face.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No?
Okay. So in that area, I'm going to say 3. There is, the reason why we're here today is there is a concern that I don't think we can discuss in open session. So once that concern is taken, once that concern is finalized, and if it's able for us to disclose in open session, then I'm sure we can disclose it.
Out of curiosity, did you use the public documents for any other school district our size up and down California and see how much they paid for legal fees during the year?
We have, I know that I have looked at legal fees, and most attorneys are stating that if they come to a district and that they would not go above those current legal fees. What I see now is that we've already surpassed what our LCAP states. I believe it's 50-something thousand a year in legal fees, and I know that we've already surpassed that, and this is
Even outside of you, though, a lot of that would have to do with COVID, though, too. You gotta understand, that's gonna be huge.
so I'm going based off my evaluation and based off what I've seen. I know, I don't know if you guys received the evaluation to submit, but I'm going off of what I have experienced. I'm going to give feedback to the attorneys as they've requested in regards to this evaluation, but that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moland. And so when uh, he said a 3, a 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And we didn't have any justification from the 3 of us.
She's, yes, in my evaluation, and as I spoke earlier, I have found their advice to be sound and prompt, and they've worked very responsive when we need to call or we have an issue. And so I've given them 5s in all areas.
Okay, so if there's no other comment, if there's no other members that are willing to.
So when we
comment,
have an evaluation overall, and I have everybody's scores now, and I think everyone has shared what they would like to share. When we give an evaluation, there needs to be a positive or a negative outcome. And so how, to give everyone a voice, I averaged all the areas, and all areas would receive an average of 3, which would be considered a positive evaluation.
With the evaluation of attorney firm of school legal services discussion, and we can move on to the next item, which is D2. Motion to terminate school legal services.
I want to remind the board that this is a voting item, but that's also, there can be conversations. So this is a time to have discussions and ask questions so we can answer and make when you vote, that you have all the information for your decision. So please take this time to discuss, and so all members have an opportunity. Yeah.
No, come on.
So as I mentioned, the district is a member of what's called a joint powers agreement. That's the sort of the partnership agreement among school districts. And so that agreement describes how a school district can discontinue their membership. So the school district partners put in a clause that requires some lead time. That's so that we can make sure that we budget and staff for the needs of the group as a whole. And so if you want to withdraw from the service, that is your prerogative as a board. You would need to provide us notice by December 31st of a given year. And then that takes effect the following June 30th. Again, the reason for that is just so that we can plan for changes in the service. So that's how that works. We didn't receive a withdrawal notice for December 31st of last year. Thanks, just for information.
So what Mr. Herndon was saying is that we are under contract until June of 2022. We can let them know by December 31st. We could let them know by December 31st if we'd like to no longer continue with their services, but we would still continue with their services through June of 2022.
Okay, so the JPA agreement, I did review. The JPA agreement was last signed by Desiree Von Flew, who is no longer the superintendent. Following her departure was Michael Coleman, who's no longer the superintendent. Right now, we have an interim superintendent, which is you, Mrs. Brown. Also, on that JPA SLS agreement, there is signed by Christine Lizardi Frazier as the superintendent of Kern County Superintendent of Schools. She is no longer the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Barlow. It is currently, Christine Lizardi Frazier, it's Dr. Frazier is no longer there. She has retired. The person on our JPA SLS agreement is Christine Lizardi Frazier, and it is now Mary Barlow, the superintendent of schools. So a correction needs to be made to the current JPA SLS agreement. The board may vote on number 2. And so if with comments, if there's comments that you guys want to make, you make them now, and we will vote on the item as indicated on.
Just so
the-
I'm clear
the
though,
agenda.
just so I'm clear on the vote is to terminate, let them know like just by December 31st, that will be done June 20th of 2022.
The vote is to motion to terminate school legal services, and that is as of now. Okay. That's the vote. And that's the vote. You guys can I think there needs to be a little bit more research behind this on the agenda and why it's on the agenda and the legalities of contractual law. This is something that was actually put on the agenda, so it's on the agenda as a voting item. So
We don't have to vote. We do not have to vote because you put that on the agenda.
Yeah, we don't need to vote. You can
I
take it
didn't-
off the agenda
I
just as
didn't
well,
put- I
just like you added it, you can take it off.
I didn't put this on the agenda.
Okay, who put it?
So, to act.
Mr. Mullen, just to clarify your point, the signatures by the former county superintendent and former, that won't affect the validity. These are long-term partnership type
And
agreements.
we haven't,
It's just on.
we haven't looked at those agreements. I thought that they were going to be provided today for each member to go through and look at. I know you're talking about them now. I don't know if every member has familiarized themselves with those
It was provided in the email that went out with the
No,
agenda.
I thought you told me that they were going to be presented here for each member to look at. So
I just wanted to clarify on that point. It doesn't affect their legal validity, but yes, we can always look at the agreement with the board, whatever you need in that regard going forward.
okay, so With that motion to terminate schools' legal services voting,
Who made the motion?
No one's made a motion.
Thank you.
is there a motion?
First motion.
Okay, there's a first motion. There's a first motion. Is there a
Okay,
second?
but can there, no, we're still discussing this. Why are we terminating schools legal? What is the reason? We have not heard a reason. We
There-
need a reason. We are
there-
not going to vote until we hear a valid reason of why we are terminating schools legal.
There has been a report. That's all I can say.
Okay, well, I'm a
that-
board member
that-
and I have no
yeah,
idea
you-
what the report is.
Okay,
So that is
you're-
not
you're-
okay. So
you're-
why is this being brought if I have no idea
You're a-
what is being brought?
You're a board member.
And I'm
Yes.
not aware of why.
Okay, so did you talk to the superintendent prior to when you seen this agenda? Did you reach out to
I
Mrs.
still, don't- I
Brown?
did, and I
Okay,
don't know why.
And you didn't get a reason why?
What is the reason?
I don't know.
What the email, do you have the email that we recently sent? The email that I recently sent to you, do I need to pull it up? With Mr. Tapia? Do we need to
So-
You
pull it?
cannot, that would be for him to talk.
No.
Okay, so for the reason,
First.
the person can talk about it, or if they
So if
decide
they
not-
can't talk about it, then why are we voting on it?
They can talk about it, they can
Um,
talk about it.
I just want to caution the board if you're terminating legal services immediately, which I'm not confident that that can happen because we are in a contract, that is going to leave us with, it's not just the board that works with the legal firms. We need to be able to have access to a legal firm at any time, the administrators, Dr. Gage, Jonathan, myself, to call for guidance and advice so that we can make sound decisions that affect our students. And we need that sound advice promptly.
We have,
It's not, and
okay.
so I'm just I just want to caution you that it's not just the board and attorneys relationship, that we need to make sure that we are covered for our students' services as well.
I see on number 3, there's
They're not.
There's a retainer voting. So if the board terminates the contract, there's a retainer and then a motion to conduct pursuant to new law firm.
Mr. Mullen, if I may,
Yes.
when you all became school board members, you took an oath. And part of that oath says that you will uphold state and federal laws. Not only am I sure you'll be possibly breaking the law, but your board policies in the 9,000 speak to this as well. You'll also be violating your own board policy.
Thank you.
So is there anyone that would like to speak to number 2?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to remove the item from the agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote, Rios,
Aye.
Virginia Lawson.
To remove it? Aye.
No,
Oh,
I'm voting.
We cannot go like this. We are all adults in here. We cannot. Okay, I am making the motion. I am making the motion to terminate the privilege for the for the disruption. We have to complete this board meeting. I'm making the motion for this, the privilege of you guys, because we are all adults here. The motion to terminate the privilege is on the table. I'm asking that, I'm asking, no, because there's a lot of interruption She was talking, then there was a lot of interruption here. We have to show respect to whoever has the floor. We cannot have everyone yelling and screaming.
Mr. Mullen, if I may, I totally agree. We have to have order. I totally agree with your point. We do. But there is a motion on the floor. Point of order.
Yes. Point of order, a motion is on the floor.
Again, I making the motion to remove item 2, item 3, item 4 from the agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote. Alma Rios.
Where to remove it?
No, she wants to remove all the next items off the agenda.
Nay.
Virginia Lawson.
Aye.
Palmer Mullen, no. Victoria Cornell.
Yes.
Jose Tapia. To remove all the items off the agenda. 2, 3, and 4. Vote for motions to remove 2, 3, and 4.
No.
No, the motion does not pass. We will vote. We will move on to the next, we will move on, motion to terminate schools legal services. Is there a motion?
First motion.
There's a first motion, second motion, Palmer Mullen, Alma Rios, roll call.
Aye.
Aye, Virginia Lawson.
No.
Palmer Mullen, yes. Victoria Cornell.
Absolutely not, because what you guys are doing is wrong.
Jose Tapia. Okay, the motion to terminate schools legal passes 3-2. Okay, motion next on the floor, motion to retain legal counsel. Motion to retain temporary legal counsel to represent Fairfax School District while we conduct a search, represent Fairfax School District in accordance with Board Bylaw 9124, Oliveris Madruga, Lumrex O'Neill LLP, OMLO. Is there a motion to retain temporary legal counsel?
I make a motion to remove the item from the agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote. She's asking for the retainer number 3 to be removed from the agenda. Roll call vote. Alma Rios, nay. Virginia Lawson.
Yes.
Palmer Mullen, no. Victoria Cornell.
Yes.
Jose Tapia. No. The motion to retain temporary legal counsel has passed. Number 4. The motion to retain legal counsel, Palmer Mullen, is a yes.
Mr. Mullen, I'm down for public comment on that one. I submitted
Is there a public comment?
Yes, go ahead.
I want to give you the same advice I gave you when you looked at the last contract for specialized services. The board bylaw says you can do those without an RFP when a board majority determines the unique demands of a particular issue or emergency situation so requires. So to properly contract for those kinds of services, the board must first lay out what are those unique demands or the emergency situation and make a specific finding that requires temporary specialized legal services. That's not listed on the agenda, so it's something the board needs to make a finding on before it approves a contract. I noticed that a law firm is named that popped up on the agenda after it was initially posted.
No, the email was sent.
And so
the email was sent. We retain, we have the retainer, we have the motion to retain.
Mr. Mullen, can I just finish my
Yeah,
comment?
go ahead.
And I'm just advising you there on the Brown Act. If that was posted less than 24 hours before the meeting, then I don't think you had a proper agenda item. If it was, not a problem.
It was, I can confirm it was posted 24 hours before.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay. Yes,
On the issue of retaining and ending contracts, first of all, you can end their contract legally by simply not using them, but they're still under contract until 2022. If we break that contract, then we are subject to their very legal and winnable lawsuit against us, which is additional money. And trust me, they're going to hit you for every legal fee they can when they do that. And I would back it up. You cannot end this contract. You cannot hire elsewhere.
we're on a motion to retain legal counsel.
Right.
We're on
And under
number
that
3.
motion, you have to take the whole picture into consideration. Now, this law firm hired an outside investigator and they did their due diligence. They put a claim out there, they investigated, they brought it public, and then they acted on it. So at least show them the same courtesy that they showed you in the initial claims that were against you.
I don't remember that. Okay, so the motion for the retainer, the motion to the retainer, there is a concern at hand right now with
That board members are
with
not
the-
aware of
with-
and we are voting on.
with board members and board member and our current council, we cannot state what the outcome of that is at this moment. But in the
So then why are board members being
in
pushed
the
into this
meantime,
if we are not aware?
the motion to retain legal counsel, that is there for a retainer. So motion to retain legal counsel is a voting item. And was there a motion?
First motion.
There was a first motion to retain the legal counsel, and then I'm going to second the motion for the temporary legal counsel.
Wait,
So
when I
they
made
can
my-
investigate,
I
they can,
made a
so
motion to
we
remove
have a
them.
retainer.
Did we go? Did we
You
vote
were-
on it? I made a motion to remove it.
Okay, a motion to remove it.
We didn't act on it.
Oh, motion to remove it, roll call vote for her to remove number 3.
Nay.
Virginia Lawson.
Yes.
Palmer Mullen, no. Victoria Cornell.
Yes.
Jose Tapia. No. 3-2. The motion passes 3-2. Motion to conduct search pursuant to new law firm.
I'm going to make a motion to remove item number 4.
Motion to remove item number 4 is on the table. I have a first, a second, roll call vote.
No.
No, Virginia Lawson.
Absolutely.
Motion to.
Le estoy dando chance que piense lo que está haciendo, señor.
Yeah, yes, I'm saying yes to number 4. I'm saying no to the removing it. I'm saying no. We
Mr.
should not
Tapia, I've
re-
given
we
you
should
many
not remove
chances
it.
to think
But
about this.
Victoria
Okay, it's a
Cornell.
no. I mean, no, I
No.
want to remove it, yes.
I say no, yes, no. The motion is agreed to, 3-2. Motion to conduct a pursuant to new law firm passes. Closed session, do we have a closed session?
First motion.
No, you didn't, this was just remove it. You have
Oh,
not actually voted
I'm
to.
sorry. Motion to conduct new law firm, motion to conduct the search. Is there a motion?
First motion.
A second motion? A second motion to conduct a RFP for a new law firm. I have a first motion by Alma Rios, second motion by Palmer Mullen. Now we're gonna do a roll call vote. Alma Rios,
Yes.
Virginia Lawson,
No.
Palmer Mullen, yes. Victoria Cornell,
No.
Jose Tapia. Yes, motion 3-2 for motion to conduct RFP passes. Closed session,
First motion.
closed session.
First motion.
No, do we have a closed
No,
session
there's not.
item? No closed session item, adjourned. The motion to adjourn this meeting.
First.
First motion. Second motion, roll call vote. Alma Rios, aye. Virginia Lawson. Virginia Lawson. Palmer Mullen, yes. Victoria Cornell.
No.
Jose Tapia, yes. The
What?
the agenda and we have
Who
adjourned.
was the second motion? We didn't hear.
Second.
Palmer.
The adjourned, the meeting is adjourned. The meeting is adjourned. What time is it?
12:15.
12:15. 12:15, the meeting is adjourned.